Welcome back. Today, we're diving into a story that has the world holding its breath. President Trump's effort to acquire Greenland, a self-governing territory of Denmark. The timing is late January 2026, and his recent statements at the World Economic Forum in Davos have sent shockwaves across Europe and even NATO. He said he would not use force, yet added a line that was both chilling and bold. One way or another, we will have Greenland. Short, decisive, and loaded with strategic intent. This is no longer a spur-of-the-moment idea from his first term. It's backed by a deliberate policy apparatus. It's critical to recognize that this time, Trump's ambition isn't just about rhetoric. Behind the scenes, there's a framework of policy, legal analysis, and strategic planning driving Washington's pursuit. The combination of territorial ambition and a business-minded approach has created tremors across European capitals, raising concerns about NATO's foundational integrity. Before we dig into maps, numbers, and strategic calculations, there are three core questions we need to examine. First, why does the United States desire Greenland so intensely? An enormous ice-covered island with a population of fewer than 60,000 seems, at first glance, like a remote and inhospitable place. But strategy is rarely about population or size alone. Second, what methods could Washington employ to achieve its goal? Purchase, free association treaties, economic pressure, or even military options. Third, what are the near insurmountable barriers? International law, local political will, and European ally reactions that make this pursuit exceptionally complex. Greenland is not just a story about an Arctic island. It's a mirror reflecting the ambition of a global superpower, a 19th century territorial mindset, and the international legal order that was established after World War II. Over the next segments, we will unpack each layer: military, economic, geopolitical, and legal, to understand why a remote, icy landmass has become a flashpoint for global tension. What's striking is that this story isn't just a lesson in history or dry political theory. It's proof of how the decisions of one individual, even the president of a superpower, can create a domino effect, destabilizing alliances and raising serious questions about the nature of allies in the 21st century. So, let's start with the most basic question: why Greenland? The answer begins with location. Greenland isn't just ice and tundra. It's a strategic gateway. Its position between North America and Europe gives it an unparalleled military significance. Control over Greenland means control over the airspace and sea lanes of the North Atlantic, a region historically known for its strategic choke points. For decades, the United States has understood this. During World War II, American troops were stationed on Greenland to prevent Nazi Germany from establishing bases there. The legacy of that strategic foresight persists. Even today, Greenland hosts U.S. military installations that serve critical roles in early warning and missile defense. The Thule Air Base, for example, monitors intercontinental missile trajectories from Russia and supports broader surveillance operations across the Arctic. Think of it as both the eyes and ears of the United States in the high north. In the age of great power competition with Russia and China, that strategic value only multiplies. Control of Greenland isn't just about territory. It's about dominance over key global corridors. Geopolitics further intensify the stakes. Greenland forms a triangle of influence with Iceland and the United Kingdom, often referred to in strategic circles as the GUK Gap. Any movement through these waters by foreign submarines or naval fleets, particularly Russia's, can be tracked and monitored. Losing access to Greenland would compromise NATO's ability to monitor these vital routes, weakening collective security. It's no exaggeration to say that this icy land has been a linchpin in Atlantic defense for over 75 years. But geography alone doesn't tell the full story. Greenland's location amplifies economic and diplomatic leverage. Its proximity to the Arctic shipping lanes makes it central to the emerging Northwest Passage, which will dramatically shorten transit between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans as ice melts. Control over Greenland is, therefore, not only a military advantage, but a key to future maritime trade routes. This is a shift with global implications. Whoever controls Greenland can influence access to these new passages, reducing dependency on traditional choke points like the Panama and Suez Canals. Then there's the human and political factor. Greenland is self-governing but remains part of the Danish kingdom. Any attempt to assert U.S. control, even through financial incentives, would be a delicate balancing act with Copenhagen. At the same time, the local population, around 57,000 people, holds legal rights to self-determination. The combination of indigenous governance, Danish oversight, and strategic military importance makes Greenland a geopolitical puzzle, a territory that is easy to desire, but almost impossible to claim without causing international friction. In short, Greenland is not just an icy island. It's a strategic crown jewel. Militarily, it enables control over the Arctic air and sea. Geopolitically, it safeguards NATO's North Atlantic operations. And strategically, it serves as a launch pad for influence in the Arctic and beyond. For Washington, the temptation is clear, but the complexity is equally daunting. This is why the question is no longer why Greenland, but rather, how could anyone ever hope to acquire it? If military and geopolitical value put Greenland on the strategic map, its economic potential is what makes it irresistible to a deal-maker mindset like Donald Trump's. Beneath the ice lies a treasure trove that could redefine global supply chains and reshape the Arctic economy. The melting ice sheet, accelerated by climate change, is revealing resources that have been locked away for millennia. Rare earth elements, critical for everything from smartphones to electric vehicle batteries to wind turbines, are abundant here, estimated at over 5 million tons. Currently, the world relies heavily on China for these minerals. Control over Greenland's deposits would give the United States a strategic advantage, a bargaining chip in the technological and industrial race of the 21st century. Oil and gas amplify the lure. Surveys conducted by the U.S. Geological Survey suggest that Greenland's offshore reserves could contain more than 31 billion barrels of oil. Even though Greenland's government has placed bans on new drilling projects in an effort to combat climate change, the potential remains tantalizing for a nation willing to play the long game. The economics are simple. Whoever secures access to these resources gains leverage over global energy markets, a rare opportunity to influence prices and supply at a time when energy security has become a geopolitical weapon. And then there's shipping. The thawing Arctic ice is opening the Northwest Passage, cutting transit times between Asia and Europe by weeks. Greenland, positioned at the critical junction of these emerging maritime routes, could become a northern Singapore, a hub for Arctic logistics and trade. Ports, refueling stations, and navigational control could turn the island into a central node in global commerce, commanding strategic fees and providing a foothold in a region that is suddenly becoming a major commercial corridor. But the economic promise is tangled in political reality. Greenland is self-governing and fiercely protective of its sovereignty. Any U.S. attempt to monetize its resources faces resistance not just from Copenhagen, but from the Greenlandic population itself. Roughly 85% of residents oppose becoming part of the United States, reflecting a deep commitment to local autonomy. Even a massive financial offer would collide with a legal framework designed to protect their self-determination. This tension highlights the paradox. Greenland is a gold mine that cannot be freely exploited. The clash between economic opportunity and legal political constraints is a central theme in the Greenland story. The Trump administration's public musings about purchasing the island echo historical precedents. The Louisiana Purchase, Alaska, but the 21st century context is infinitely more complex. Modern international law, local governance, and the global geopolitical environment render such a transaction far from straightforward. In essence, Greenland's economic value is twofold. First, it provides access to resources that could secure technological and energy dominance. Second, it offers control over new Arctic shipping lanes that may define future global trade. Yet these riches are locked behind ice, laws, and sovereignty, turning opportunity into a strategic puzzle. For Washington, The question isn't whether Greenland is valuable. It is how to reconcile ambition with reality. Once Greenland's strategic and economic value is clear, the natural question arises: how could the United States even attempt to acquire it? Publicly, the most discussed option is outright purchase. Historically, America has precedent for buying territory: Louisiana from France, Alaska from Russia, even the U.S. Virgin Islands from Denmark. Former President Trump floated the idea of buying Greenland for an estimated $700 billion. On paper, it sounds straightforward: money in exchange for land. But in reality, this approach collides with legal, political, and diplomatic realities that make a simple transaction virtually impossible. First, the principle of voluntary consent is non-negotiable. Modern international law, including the Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties, is explicit. Any agreement reached under coercion is null and void. Threats of tariffs, economic pressure, or military force, as Trump occasionally suggested, would destroy the legitimacy of any deal. Greenlandic authorities and Denmark are fully aware of this, making a coerced transaction both illegal and diplomatically explosive. It's not just about money. It's about consent and sovereignty. Second, Greenland itself wields a powerful legal tool: self-determination. Under the Greenland Self-Government Act of 2009, the island's population has explicit authority over issues of sovereignty. Any transfer of control would require a referendum. Current polling suggests that roughly 85% of Greenlanders would reject becoming part of the United States. No amount of negotiation could override this fundamental barrier. In short, Greenlanders are not for sale, and any attempt to bypass them would violate core principles of human rights and international law. Even if a purchase is impossible, alternative strategies have been discussed. One idea is a free association or security agreement similar to arrangements in the Pacific. Greenland could remain self-governing domestically while the U.S. assumes responsibility for defense and provides substantial financial support. In theory, this could achieve many strategic objectives without formal annexation. Yet, the proposal still hinges on a voluntary agreement of both Greenland and Denmark, neither of which has shown interest. Beyond legal and political barriers, the United States faces geopolitical pushback. Denmark and other NATO allies have reacted with strong resistance, reinforcing Greenland's sovereignty through military presence and diplomatic statements. The concept of a tripwire force deploying small NATO units to signal collective defense makes any unilateral U.S. action extraordinarily risky. Any misstep could trigger a cascade of conflict with allies, undermining NATO cohesion and the credibility of the U.S. on the global stage. Finally, the specter of force, though rarely overt, has loomed in public statements. Trump hinted that without assertive measures, Greenland might slip out of reach. Even the suggestion of military action, however unlikely, is enough to poison diplomatic relations and provoke international backlash. In today's interconnected world, the cost of coercion is far higher than the potential gain. In sum, Washington's ambition collides with reality at multiple levels: legality, sovereignty, consent, and alliance politics. The dream of acquiring Greenland is constrained not by imagination, but by a complex lattice of political, legal, and strategic obstacles. Any plan, however creative, must navigate this labyrinth, a challenge that has, so far, kept Greenland firmly in the hands of its people. Greenland's strategic and economic significance has not gone unnoticed by the global community. Any U.S. move to acquire or exert undue influence over the island immediately triggered responses from multiple international actors, revealing the delicate balance of modern geopolitics. Europe, in particular, has been vocal. Denmark, as Greenland's sovereign state, has repeatedly emphasized that Greenland is not for sale and that the island's people hold the ultimate authority over their future. The Danish Prime Minister highlighted that any unilateral action by the United States could threaten the very foundations of NATO, a sentiment echoed by other European allies. Allied nations have also responded through military and diplomatic channels. Small but symbolic NATO deployments to Greenland illustrate a tripwire strategy. Even minimal forces signal collective defense, deterring unilateral actions. These deployments are not about fighting. They are about credibility and signaling. A military incursion into Greenland by the US, or any single power, would instantly transform a regional issue into a global crisis. France, the United Kingdom, and Germany have all expressed concern, making it clear that the island status is not just a bilateral issue between the US and Denmark, but a matter of European security. China and Russia, meanwhile, watch closely from the sidelines. Both see Greenland as a geostrategic asset. Russia, with its northern fleet, views the Arctic passages around Greenland as potential choke points, while China, positioning itself as a near-Arctic state, has steadily expanded its economic and scientific presence. Any disruption in Greenland's governance or ownership could trigger a recalibration of Arctic policies, military deployments, and trade routes by these powers. The island is no longer merely a remote territory. It is a pivot point in the global chessboard. The legal and human rights dimensions amplify the stakes. International law, particularly the post-1945 principles enshrined in the UN Charter, prohibits the acquisition of territory by force. The self-determination of peoples is a cornerstone of these norms. Greenland's resistance is not only political but deeply legal. Any attempt to override the will of its 57,000 residents would constitute a violation of international law, inviting condemnation, sanctions, and reputational damage to the United States. Perhaps most importantly, Greenland exposes a central tension in 21st century alliances. NATO, designed to deter external threats, now faces the possibility of internal strain. What happens when the most powerful member flouts the norms that hold the alliance together? European leaders have made clear that attempts to bypass democratic processes in Greenland could weaken trust, reduce cooperation, and set dangerous precedents. The US, even with unmatched military and economic power, cannot act in isolation without risking long-term damage to its alliances. Ultimately, the Greenland episode serves as a cautionary tale about the limits of power. Strategic ambition collides with legal norms, popular sovereignty, and alliance politics. The world watches not just to see what will happen with Greenland, but what it reveals about how great powers operate in a rules-based order. The question lingers. In an era where territory, resources, and military advantage are prized, can unilateral ambition coexist with international law and multilateral alliances? Greenland may be small, remote, and icy, but the implications of its status are immense, reverberating across continents, alliances, and decades.